Hello everybody, welcome to the show. We are at Paradise, but before we go, me and Charles, say hi Charles.
Hello.
Charles is gonna hold the camera. I got stuff to do. Finally got a cameraman. I know it's a first for me, except for when I had Noah doing it. We're gonna hit Paradise today. Last week I was here and we left, believe it or not, within an hour after I caught my personal best largemouth bass. But we're back today. The cows were out earlier, you don't see them now. I saw some deer on the way here. Things are on the move. I think we're going to do good. But before that, I'm taking time out of my schedule to show you guys mine and Charles's whole rod lineup, because I want to get these all out of the way so we can start talking about the rods I got coming in. And Charles knows better than I do on the ones he's already owned and had, and a couple of them used to be mine, or I've had the same ones, and I have a few of these coming also. So we're going to jump down here. I'm going to have Charles hold the camera. We're going to talk about just a BFS in general, but also my regular stuff I use. So buckle up, hang on, let's do it. But we're gonna start. All right, Charles, hold the camera. First thing I want to just get out of the way. The first rod I ordered off AliExpress in this batch, I think I originally had 10. They canceled a couple of them on me. There's still 8 more coming. That is the little bitty, and these guys are naming these things weird. This is called the golden mud carp. Does not resemble any kind of carp, or golden or not, that I've ever seen. But this little rod, 6 foot, fished it yesterday, gonna fish it today. $24 off AliExpress. And that's just a sock that you can buy, cut off, turn inside out, and awesome reel protector. And I do have a $300, the Aldebaran on it. But this rod, and through the winter, you know guys, keep watching the channel. I'm gonna be kind of putting out a deal, trying to show you guys what kind of the flex and action of the rods are, and overall what I think of the rods. But this rod is actually pretty good. And what gave me the idea to throw this video out here was because I was comparing it in another video I did with the Cast King Zephyr. This is Charles's old setup. And what Charles didn't like about the Zephyr, which actually makes it real good for small creeks and streams, is how soft this tip is. You guys see that? Like that is, oh, it's gonna break. It is soft. This is a little bit stiffer. So I've kind of lined them up on as far as for what I use. The stiffnesses I feel is how soft or light they are. And we'll talk real quick about the ones I broke, but I'm gonna grab the camera from Charles and I'm gonna kind of go over them real quick, and then I'll bring them up one at a time.
Oh, stop.
So that's still going. No, it's still going. So the first one you guys have all seen, I'll try to get out of the sun here. Kine Teton 522 SUL. That is, I still feel the lightest overall. Maybe not in the tip, but the whole rod flexes. Then would be probably the Cast King Zephyr. Then, which I have it on a different handle, the Lure Killer Big Trout would be next in my lineup, I feel anyway. Then would come in this one I just picked up, the Golden Carp. It's probably right there with the Teton 632. Then we'll talk about this later. Just some of the, there's other options even used, like on eBay or just out in, could be at a garage sale. You look for those crazy, you know, not noodly, but pretty soft rods. There were a bunch of them made over the years. They can still make excellent BFS rods. Then would come my favorite, my all-time 661. The 662 is also the same action and power. It's like the in-between. It's where you're getting away from rods basically that would work in the very small creeks and streams. You're going away from that ultralight or some of the light to a true like light, but it's not a medium light. Then you go to like the Conquerors or any of your, and I put the Conqueror 6.5. They're calling it a light, but it's really more like a medium light in my mind. But the JDM, true JDM rods, the Major Craft, you know, Corzas, and Binkies, they make all kinds of them. Shimano and Megabass, and I've had and here's where I would put the Criff Hanger, the Shading X, which I've had in the past, right there with this kind of rod. The JDM style lights and medium lights are a stiffer rod. They are where you're jumping into what I call power BFS fishing. But then you jump from that, and there's some options. I'm looking for different options on AliExpress. There's some there, but AliExpress is loaded with the light and ultralight. And then there's some like the Tetons and a few other brands I'm going to try to get into that are more that mid-range. They'll cover kind of through the whole spectrum of how I fish anyway, or what I consider the true BFS stuff is. But anyway, then you have options. We're going to jump into the like Daiwa and Loomis and all that. The Tatula, this is has a solid tip, a very stiff rod overall, as you would think, but it'll throw crazy light stuff. I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not. I'll just read it off to you. It is a 610 medium, 3/30 seconds to 1 ounce is what it's rated. 6 to 16 pound line. That has a crazy long rating. But there's stuff like that out there on the market. So, you know, you're going to spend a lot more money, but for what it will do, you know, I can't tell you to go spend that much money, but there are options for if you're wanting to do a true power BFS fishing, or the higher end of what, say if you're a spinning guy and you're wanting to try BFS stuff, but you throw heavier stuff with spinning gear, these would be good options. Now the 802 NRX is an awesome, what I call power BFS. And you could go to like the 842 or whatever. It doesn't have to be an NRX. If it's a Loomis, even the GLX, and you know, on down to even the cheapest one you can get, that rating, the 2 power rating, is kind of what you want to look for. Because once you get into the 3, which I have here, you're way away from BFS. This is my regular, for my regular stuff. This is, I'm throwing 1/2 ounce, and I'm throwing my regular up to 3/4 ounce and that kind of stuff on the regular, the 3 power. So then I will talk, if you're into the high-end market, Pagani's are a good option. I broke this one, but they are actually very extremely good rods. And it's just my opinion, but Megabass rods, I can't say that I recommend them to anybody. They're very awesome, but you have to be, they're not delicate rods, but you have to treat them delicately. Does that make sense? I think they're ones, if they get too beat up or banged on, they will snap. I've seen several guys post these broken, but they will work amazingly for quite a long time if you take care of them. If you're abusive with your stuff and you like to just buy fishing stuff, treat it truly as tools, throw it around, do not even think about Megabass, which you're probably not. All right, let's jump to Charles's stuff real quick, and then if you guys comment below if you have any questions. And the reason I'm throwing this video out here right now, because I have like 2 months worth of fishing stuff that I'm still working on editing. So this little, however long it is, it's 6.5 minutes right now, is going to jump to the front, and then you'll see all the other fishing stuff. But Charles has also been buying stuff off AliExpress also, and just everywhere. But here's the Dragon, and it was the one I bought last year. I traded it to Charles. Charles loves it. Yeah. And I called it, it's a very good rod. It's a little softer than the 661 Teton, is why I was like, I wanted something a little, just a touch different between it and the Conqueror. So this doesn't fall there, but it falls, like if I had to put it on my list, it would go right here. It is about like what some of that old stuff, it's going to flex even deeper and maybe a touch like what the Teton does, but it's just a touch softer overall. But it's definitely stiffer than all these other rods, all the other light and ultralight, you know, rods. Some of these rods do come with like dual blanks or dual tips, you know, a light and an ultralight. So I'll just stick it right there, and that's what I'm going to do with Charles, is he's kind of lined them up, if you can see the pick, or kind of make it out in the order he thinks from the softest to the heaviest. And that you had that one on the end, didn't you? Mm-hmm. The Dragon is his stiff heaviest, which mine, I've got both the Teton, or the Kayings, the Conqueror and the Teton are stiffer. So Charles, I guess I take it Charles likes a little bit lighter rod than I do, I think. But this one, Stream Angler, and you would just have to hold this rod in your hand to, that feel of casting is not the greatest, because if this cork handle was just fill up your hand, once you palm this is a very good feeling rod that is crazy. I'd put it's like right here with my 522, and it's only, what'd you say, Charles, 24, $5?
Yes.
Yeah, it's cheaper. And another reason why I'm putting these videos out, because I was recommending the Tetons right and left, man. Those are the rods you get, they're $55 or $60. They're like $85 now. They're like $75 and $85. The Tetons have jumped like $20 per rod. Which, are they still worth it? Yes, probably. But there might be better options on AliExpress that are just as good for probably half the price. $35, $40 gets you a pretty good rod off AliExpress.
And the thing about that one is the really, really slow action. The
right.
whole rod blank flexes.
Right, well this one, here, hold this camera. Let's give Charles the camera back here. I'm gonna try to show you guys. Watch this. Get me out in the sun. I'm not gonna break it, Charles. Maybe we'll buy another one. They're only 25 bucks. But see that flex? The whole rod just starts flexing. It's light. Like this is a set your drag, or you'll snap the rod off trying to catch a fish. But it's awesome to fish with. And it's like, if you guys are familiar with the Teton 522, like see that rod? See how it's bending down at the butt? But this is a little stiffer than this one. This one, I think this tip is softer than this tip, but at the base, they actually look very close. So this one thins out at the tip, but they are, if anything, I would call, yeah, this one maybe just on a touch lighter. Or they're the same in just the fact it's got a stiffer tip to where this one's flexing. The power transfers faster down to that one, but very good. If you like the 522 or think about getting that, the cheaper option would be the Stream Angler. Very good rod. Then the two, I'll jump to, which we don't even, do we need to talk about the lure killer? Here's what it looks like. I did the crazy, let's just compare this real quick, Charles. Changing up the mix. Whoa, whoa. Uh-oh, who's got lines? Oh my goodness. Here are the same rods, same tip, but I added the, I'm gonna try to match him up where the big trout part is. So yeah, I added these rods. For some reason mine looks like it's a little longer than yours. I'm trying to look, I think the tips will stop shaking. Huh, this one looks a little longer. But anyway, I added this. You can do stuff like that. I mean, they're $25 rods. The downside to this rod, other than this, they were cheap. What were they, $25, $28?
28 with two tips, yeah. Tip.
Crazy cheap, like insane. I bought one, I'm like, sure, I gotta buy one that price. Problem now with these, there's another $22 or $4 to ship. That's the only way I can find them, cheapest I can find them. So they basically doubled in price. Probably still worth it, really. So we'll put those, they fell right like in between. Definitely not as light as the Zephyr, but probably, yeah, they're about right where they need to be. Then, Charles has two of them out here, I think. Yeah, let's talk about...
Two different tips on the Delicacy.
On the Delicacy. Okay, this rod is probably the one I'm honestly more excited about using. Because I don't know, I think I've cast Charles's a couple times.
Not with that tip.
Not with this tip, but this I know I won't like, but man, the EVA, it's hard to explain when you get into what it feels and looks like a better quality. It has a silky appearance. It feels better than the cheaper EVA. That's made good. Just the machining, this is what is done on these, is way better. Now the color scheme, it's got red here and green. It's like, some abstract artist decided that he was going to change colors up, but it's fine. This looks expensive. This looks like the most expensive, like, time taken into it materials out of any of the AliExpress rods I've had, way over even the Conquerors. This part, if it was that soft touch, this rod would be perfect. But Charles don't like this tip, and I can see why, because it is very soft. I would have to put this right with all of the lightest of the ultralights thrown way down. And it tells you right on it, 0.6 to 8 grams, so about close to half a gram. And it probably will with the right reel. So I have one of these coming. Charles owns 3 now, right? He
yes.
broke one. He bought a new one to replace it, plus 2 more as backup. So that tells you something right there about what Charles feels about this Delicacy rod. So here,
that's a heavier tip.
Now Charles likes that over the other ones, which I do too, actually. That feels like good, because here's the thing about these, and if you guys are wondering, like, well, I don't need 2 tips, but here's what you can do. You can take this one rod, I would probably end up putting a thicker handle. Let me talk about that real quick. You can get these off AliExpress. Would work perfectly there. You would have to extend that butt just a little, or you could cut the black off if you know, but you would want that even up. Never leave too much cork sticking out, because you'll stick it up against you and you'll rip that cork right off. But you could put a solid handle on this rod, which I would probably it actually is not bad, because it does come down further than a lot of them. but I got pretty big hands. But what you can do is this tip right here is perfect for bigger water. It'll throw, you know, poppers and stuff, and it's soft. But then you can stick that other tip on, this tip right here. Now we're going to those small, you know, creeks and streams, and we're throwing down to, you know, the little, as the real test is always throwing is trout magnets, which I've never thrown a trout magnet. Charles, you got a trout magnet?
Yep, got them.
We may have to throw one at some point. May do that when I get my new reels in. It'll be like 35 degrees of water. Will be almost frozen. But that is why, like, if you buy one of these, now how much are delicacies? I don't even remember.
28 with both tips, free shipping.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I maybe should buy a couple more of those. Now those, and that's the thing about the two tips. So what you have, you put this one, I would call it somewhere close to the dragon, wouldn't you? So,
very close, a little bit under the dragon probably.
Yeah, it's either, yeah, just for the fact it's got a lot smaller down at the butt. But yeah, the light tip would go in between, probably a little lighter than the dragon, but not as light as like a 632 Teton or these other, you know, ultralight tipped ones. But then that ultralight one, I'm gonna get down here and check real quick. I would put it, let me just go. These two right here are definitely stiffer. So we got the Lure Killer and the one I just got are way stiffer. Yeah, it is lighter than the Zephyr. It's out of the softness of tips, it's got the lightest soft tip we have in this group of rods. Then would be the Zephyr, then would be the Lure Killer, the big trout, then would be this little cheap carp, golden carp I got. And because even the one Charles has, what I call one of the lightest rods of them all, and the 522 SUL, they don't have super soft tips. The whole rod is soft and flexes, which lets them cast just about as light as lures, but they don't, the tips are not as soft. So anyway, yeah. So then let's talk about the last rod, or two rods, and wrap this up. So this rod, Charles, we're not even going to say the name because we don't want to say the name. This is a travel rod.
It's a torpedo.
Torpedo. I think if you search torpedo, I like that feel. That's how everybody should make, if they make split grips, they should start with that size or a little bit bigger handle. That feels solid when you're casting it. You know, it's got the little butt, it's telescoping. Charles has used it once, so we're still gonna do a little more testing, but how much is it?
22?
Yeah, get it. I mean, for that price, it's like, get one. If you are looking for that. I'm trying to talk myself into two-piece rods. I'm not ready to go down this travel rod street.
The crazy thing is that thing is mad sensitive. You feel every little bump.
Yeah, I felt it lightly. Like these are, net lasting is what we got to see. Like as far as once you telescope it out and you start fishing, it works. It works perfectly. But durability, how will it last? We'll just have to watch Charles fish it and see where it goes. But if you want one like right now, like, oh, I want it, you know, shut up and sell me the thing. You know, buy one. But then the last
you might show the case it comes with too, because it comes with a nice case
for $20-some.
Yeah.
Wow, that is.
Yeah.
That case is better than what they shipped my freaking last ride in. That's a nice case. That's like a $10-15 case anywhere you go. So you buy the case for $22 and you get the rod for free, pretty much. So yeah, that's a no-brainer. If you're looking for, there's the name of it, I guess. Hangzine Healing, I don't even know how to say that, but that's definitely an option. I'm gonna jump real quick and we're gonna end this video because it's 18 minutes. We're gonna keep it under 20 minutes. Right here, the KR Phantom. There's two reels that honestly let me down that I've bought so far from AliExpress. This is one of them. This is actually my old one, right?
Yes, it is.
My old
and
one.
I like it.
It's a good reel. Oh, I like it too, as far as like the smoothness was there, which is still there. Charles, it's old now. Here's the downside to it in usage. See that cool color flaking stuff? It's flaking off. It's coming off. Like that looks just purely from wear, but it's starting to flake here and there from palming it. So that coating probably on all these cool looking rods we got is kind of brittle. So I don't even know if there's a way you could do that. Say if it was new, could you coat it in something? Like do
I
a
have
clear
no
coat
idea.
painting or something just to protect
I think it
So
would be the same.
if you guys got the KR Phantoms there and you haven't used them and you're planning on starting, it's gonna wear. Trust me. So this reel was awesome except for one thing, and I'm gonna try to show you guys. You probably can't see the gap, but there is a gap there, and line will get in there. Now, what Charles is like me, he uses braid, but if you put mono or fluorocarbon, the way it jumps up when you have a little overrun or backlash, it tends to want to just doink, and then it coils right into it.
Well, even that leader, you can see it trying to get in there right
trying
now.
to jump up. This side never had an issue, but the short time, real quick, I noticed it went in. What I did to solve it, I just put 15 pound, and I think you still run 10, right? Or do you have?
That's got 10, yeah.
But Charles runs 10. He says he has no problems with it. But I just stuck 15 pound braid on because I tried to, I doubled it up and I went to stick it in and it wouldn't go. I'm like, I just run 15 pound braid on it, and I fished it and I was having no issues. It cast real good and worked fine. It's a little, for me, on the heavy side, but Charles don't mind about the heavy reels. But the KR Phantom, the Black Knight is the other one. Charles has that one too, and we'll talk about the last rod. And that Phantom is just basically another version of the GH100. Here, I got a Black Knight coming, the old one, and I got a Black Knight 2 coming. I don't even know who I sold it to, but I had such high hopes for this reel. I think it was the first reel you could get it from AliExpress with the clicker, I believe. Don't hold me to it, because it may have been the Pro was out on the PW100, but I didn't know it yet. But when this reel was talked about and it had this ceramic spool bearings, it had the clicker, and the spool isn't that heavy. I mean, nowadays it is considered heavy. But when it came out, I was like, this is a game changer. This is going to do it. And it's not that it's a horrible reel, but it didn't do what it should have. They are loud. The freaking ceramic, they're the hybrid, whatever bearings are in this thing, I think they're, in my opinion, they got a, and maybe with the Black Knight 2, we'll find out, they just got like cheap ceramic bearings from somewhere. They got a deal on them, threw them in them, and they work and they're fine, but I think they're louder than ceramic bearings even should be. But I don't know. Charles, I fished this. There's a video you'll see coming out a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? I fished this, and Charles was like, you don't seem to be able to put it down, because I kept using it, but it wasn't because of the reel. The reel was working fine though. It's because of this rod, and the last rod I want to talk about. I have one coming. I ordered it. They said it was out, so I canceled. Then I seen them keep listing it, so I messaged them again. They said, oh yeah, it's back in stock. So I got to order another one, or maybe I did order it. But this, just a cool, let me take this reel off, but look how it matches up. Like if you have or plan on getting the Black Knight 2, even the Phantom would even match even better. It's got that cool finish. And this one, unlike the cheap one I just got, goes all the way up. And it's a purple. It's not quite as, I don't know what, am I looking for the girly term? It's just not as, girly as the one I got. Let's compare them real quick, Charles. Not that there's anything wrong with pink, but in comparison, if you guys can make out these two rods, this crazy bright and that right there with all of that and all of the pink is just insane. How much differently these things look. But this handle, the way it's made, now that could be just a knockoff wood. That may not even be real wood. It almost looks like it may be just a, even Megabass back in the day, I can show you my Megabass, they just put plastic and they coated in a coating that looked like wood. But that is real metal here and here. And just the way that one's made, the way I like these kind of, just like the Zephyr has. I like that look and how it works. And then when you're palming it, it gives you more solid feel. This, and it fishes good, and it's got a soft tip. I'm gonna go over there and compare it. It's right there with them all. It's right there with the soft as they come, the Zephyr and all of the others.
I'll bring that one today and we'll fish it.
But, uh-oh. You're never gonna guess who got, hooked on himself. This one is not. This one, I'll just compare it with these so you guys can know. If you already have the Volan Rock and Roll and you're like, well, I'd like something to come with it. Now this is 6 foot. They're supposed to be 6 foot. This is 5'6". Clearly, I don't think that's 6 inches, right? But anyway, that is way stiffer. This would be like a true ultralight. This would be a more of a light ultralight. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is definitely a stiffer rod overall, into the tip, down into the butt and everything. So it wouldn't be a bad combo to have if you're going and you want to throw the very little smallest stuff with your new Black Knight tube, but you got an old Black Knight or old anything that is very brightly colored to throw in this to go a little heavier up. And I think, I don't think, well, I don't know. This one have the solid tip all the way too though, doesn't it? This is solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're both like solid tips. The whole tip is solid. That's the last thing I guess I'll talk about. And let's wrap this up, Charles. It's probably over 20 minutes now. But we're gonna get out here and fish a lot of these today and a lot of other regular stuff. The only one that I know of that changes is the lure killer. The other ones I'm showing you have shown you either have a, like right where it hooks up, it is a solid tip all the way out, or it's a hollow tip. This lure killer starts out, it's a hollow tip, and then right here there's actually the solid tip is into that and it's glued, it's permanent. So technically this would be a 3-piece with this piece not being removed. So the tip that's solid, see how, if you can see that it flexes. Now I broke one of my tips. I had 2 ultralight tips. I broke one right past, you know, because it was solid. I tried to boat flip like a pound bass. That's not a good thing. It was my fault. You cannot blame the rod for that. I overdid it big time. But the only other rod, I'm trying to get out of here, Charles. Stop talking. 25, I gotta definitely cut this down. But anyway, this crazy rod right here. Now you would think just having about 10 inches of a solid tip going into a rod, I'll show you how stiff that is, to like a, I would call that a medium heavy rod if it wasn't for that crazy soft tip it's got added, which is probably stiffer than any other solid tips. But just that give right there will let you cast a 16th ounce jig with, you know, something on it. So like probably like a true 1/8 ounce on up to its rating. And it says 330 seconds. What does that translate into? Anyway, I don't fish anything that says 330 seconds on it, but up to 1 ounce. So I don't know if I would want to hook something 1 ounce on this and cast it very hard, because I just have a feeling that tip would like break right off. But it may not, it may take it. We'll throw 1/2 ounce stuff on it. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you have any questions, comment below, or if you have any comments that you just want to talk about this rod. I'm trying to put together for yourself, for myself and you guys, yourselves, just as comprehensive as I can, little list of rods and what you can get. That way I could just, whether I want to look back and like, was that rod stiffer than my other rod or not, or whatever. You know, we're getting old, losing our memory. Me and Charles both will be, well, I'm going to be 50 this year, a few days before next year. Charles, he won't be 50 till next year. He's pretty young. But we're going to jump out here and catch some largemouth bass. If we catch a big bass, you'll see it at the end of this video. If we don't, you won't. We probably caught a lot of bass, but maybe not any worth actually tagging on in this video. But it's only 27 minutes. We may make it even 30 and put something big or one of the rods. If we have anything stand out, we'll throw it on there. All right, guys, we got to get bass fishing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Say bye, Charles.
Bye.
Charles is ready to go fishing. Later, guys. Get out of here.
Right.
Abandoned, you know, soft plastic.
Swim bait. You know, stay with the soft plastic, but go to a swim bait instead of.
Oh, everyone took it. Right. I've watched him jump up and hit. I think it's a green. That fish charged it. Yeah. Oh, look how cool he looks. That dude has a crazy blue mouth. I hope I get him in. I think that's what I'm seeing. I guess it's the way the light was hitting him. His mouth looks so blue. Look at this fish. I wasted 10 minutes on that fish, but I'm going to get him in. Okay. Boat flipped him. You guys see what I'm doing? Boat flipped. Look at the bend in the rod. Can you see it? This is a strong rod. Like, I'm not scared of it breaking. It doesn't have that delicate feel of a lot of your ultralights. Whoa!
Like my delicacy?
Yeah, the delicacy. It doesn't feel
really
so
the delicacy isn't that delicate.
What do you guys think?
It's pretty tough rod.
Woo!
Unless your wife stomps on it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
But before I go, that fish came right over there. Charles was fishing this area. I just knew Charles had this area fished out. But that bass actually hit it going. I was moving the boat, reeling. That fish came out and took it. So it's one of those things, like I think the majority of them aren't hitting, but the ones that are, you got to move, cover water, and then when you hit them, I don't think it's there's one. Oh, that's a nice bass. I saw that whole thing take place. Charles is fishing the wrong bait. Whoa, Jesus. As I'm trying to put an end to the show, already did with the showstopper. I saw him, I watched him come up and eat that, swimming it. I was not jigging or nothing. Oh, look at that fish. Charles! That fish, I saw the whole thing. That was cool. I didn't think the camera picked it up. No, it's on. That's normally what happens. Come here, you freaking, that's a fish of the day. Mwah! Woo! Fish of the day at the end of the day. He is not huge, but for what we've gone through today, Charles, look at that. Easy probably 2.5 pound bass. Man, it's been a struggle today.